Alright guys, I don't know what the crap happened there, but I lost audio on the camera. It does that from time to time. So I'm just going to walk you through real quick what I just did. We twisted the gate so that I could get a clamp on the opposite corners, the ones that were sticking up. We clamped those down, then we rigged up our crane with a choker running through that pocket, and then we lifted up with the crane to tweak it back flat. You can see it's nice and flat now. So now the only problem we have to deal with is the hinges. I apologize that you're not going to get all the detail, but you guys get the general idea. That's how I did it. That is a very common thing in fabrication. Two things that are going to be your friend when you got to bend something back like this. One, a 2,400 pound steel table. Two, the crane. With those two things, that's usually always where I start. If I've got to bend something back, if I can clamp it to the table and pull it with the crane and tweak it back, that's where I like to start. If that doesn't work, then I start getting creative with forklift, come-alongs, all that kind of stuff. Now that we got this all tweaked back, now we're going to work on the hinges. So what I'm going to do with the hinges is, I've decided that instead of machining a new barrel and then having to weld a piece of flat bar to it, you can see this is all one piece. What I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this back a little ways. I'm going to bevel it. I'm going to cut a new piece of flat bar and I'm going to splice it. We've got to get past these stress cracks. So we'll come back to here, we'll cut it, bevel it, splice it, weld it back together, and then we'll weld it back on here. Now this one here, you can see it's tweaked pretty good. It's got kind of a... So I'm going to throw this in the press brake, see if I can't tweak this back flat. Then I'll cut it, bevel it, splice it, and it'll be ready to weld back on here. So I'll go ahead and get these hinges prepped up, get them ready to weld, and we'll go to that point. Alright guys, so there's our barrel piece, and then we hurried and fabbed up this other piece. You can see I've beveled the side that's going to get welded to it. I left it long, stuck it in the brake and broke it first, and then I cut it to length after. That way it's just easier to handle, it's easier to break, and it's easier to cut it after than it is to cut it to length and then try to break a really short piece. So I'll clamp it to the table and then I'll weld that up. So that's what we'll do now. Okay, that looks pretty straight. So I'm going to go ahead and get a tack on either end of this. I'll tack either end, then I think I'll flip it, weld it, flip it back over, weld this side. Try to keep it from buckling. I'm going to go ahead and weld this up with dual shield. I'm going to hurry and flip it. Weld this side. I'll clean that up with a grinder, but it looks nice and straight. So we'll set this off to the side, let it cool for a minute. We'll wait for those to cool a little bit. I'll clean them up with the grinder, and then we'll give you guys a look once we get them all ready to weld on. All right, guys, here's where we're at. Got the hinges all cleaned up. So they turned out pretty good. Once we get them painted, I don't think you'll even be able to tell. Okay, so I got those all cleaned up. I've got my lines laid out according to my drawing. So I'm going to tack these on here. Then I want to get them back over onto the trailer. We'll go ahead and check the fit once we get all that done and see how it looks. So we'll go into time lapse, we'll get all this stuff done, and then we'll give you guys a look once we do our test fit. Alright, so here's what we got. We got the gate on. It latches good. Swings good. The gap right here in the middle, this overlap right here, you want to make sure that that is sticking far enough over onto this one that dirt doesn't leak out. So it's got about a 1/4 inch overlap. Our gap right here on the bottom is good. It's consistent. So I think we're just gonna go with it. So we're gonna pull this off now, and I'll go ahead and weld this out, and then we'll start putting it back together. So we'll go to that point now. Alright guys, we got these welded out. So now we're ready to reassemble it. I'm going to hang it first, and then I'll shoot it with some primer and some paint. I don't have anything that's going to match this sparkly gray beautiful powder coat, but I do have some gray Rust-Oleum, so it's just what it's going to have to be. So we'll get this on the trailer, and we'll get it all bolted back up, put back together, and then we'll give you guys one last look. Alright guys, it's all done. Jared's here to visit. You can see it opens and closes good. We did have to loosen the hinges just a little bit to get them to swing freely. The gap is consistent the whole way around, other than where they bent the side of the dump trailer, but there's nothing we can do about that part. We greased the hinges, we painted it. Everything shuts good. It's tight. It doesn't wobble or make noise. So I think that's going to wrap this one up. Hey guys, just want to take a quick second before we close the video out. We wanted to tell you guys we hope you have a very Merry Christmas. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate all the support that we received. We appreciate how the channel's growing. We're excited about it. We want to bring you guys the content that you want to see. So if there's something you'd like to see, let us know. We hope that during this busy time of the year, you guys will be able to take just a minute and focus on the true meaning of Christmas. It's one of those things that truly will make the world a better place. We hope you guys are safe. Have a good time this holiday season. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you on the next one.